The conga is an ape or primate type monster with a hippopotamus-like face. Congas are known for traveling in packs and have the strange ability to fart on command. Though congas travel in packs, they don't normally work together very well and are quite temperamental. When a conga feels threatened, they will stand on their hind legs, making themselves look more intimidating. If that doesn't work, they'll go straight for the attack. The conga seems to reluctantly follow the leader of these packs. The leader of these packs are known as Congalalas. In the lore, this ferocious feces flinger is the pink-furred beast and can be identified by its large physique compared to normal congas. They also sport this large horn-like hairstyle. The Congalala uses fruits and other plant juices like hair gel to form these horns on their head. It's said they do this to assert dominance over the pack and any other congas they might encounter. Congas who aim to become leaders of these packs may don the same hairstyle and challenge the sitting leader Congalala. I'd like to point out that the next bit is complete speculation on my part, but I can't help but see the Congalala's hairstyle as maybe a reference to the pompadour. Though not completely similar to the conga's hairstyle, the pompadour may have a similar meaning. The pompadour in Japanese media is often seen worn by a bancho. In Japan, in the late 20th century, the term bancho refers to a leader of juvenile delinquents in middle to high school. It is thought that this might be a reference to the word tobancho, a term for a position in the former Japanese army. In some schools, students would hold secret elections to pick the next bancho. Occasionally, there would be fights between the bancho and their subordinates, the loser of which becoming the subordinate of the winning bancho. Banchos were becoming more and more rare in the 1970s, and by the 1980s, the word was looked to be old-fashioned. Vestiges of this old word still remain though, in nicknames for baseball players, and even an entire genre of manga called bancho manga. Getting back to the Congalala, the monster itself made its first appearance in Monster Hunter DOS for the PS2 and has been in a variety of games ever since. The Congalala will attack with its large claws, often with long sweeping motions. They may fall on their backs after these swinging combos. The fall will make the ground tremor, stunning any nearby hunters. This tremor can be negated though with the ability Tremor Res, or by rolling with proper timing. The Congalala is also very fond of mushrooms. Let's take a look at a few of the Congalala's in-game descriptions. Large, pink, furred beast with an incredible appetite, especially for mushrooms, which the monster often carries around with them. They let rip the most almighty farts, the stench of which overwhelm opponents. A large, fanged beast with pink fur, often found in warm or damp regions, fond of mushrooms. The Congalala possesses either poisonous or flaming breath, depending on the food available in their local habitat. The Congalala's love for mushrooms are even seen in the way they fight. Many of the mushrooms the Congalala eats are poisonous. Due to this, the Congalala has developed an enzyme that breaks down the toxins found in these mushrooms. Once the toxins are broken down, the gas expelled by the Congalala will take on the properties of the mushroom, temporarily giving the Congalala the ability to inflict ailments, such as poison, paralysis, or even sleep. Not only can the Congalala produce gas from its, ass, but it can project this gas from its mouth. Similar to other breath attacks, in some cases, the Congalala will even inflict fire blight or even blast blight. Mushrooms are not the only thing the Congalala is seen holding in its tail. The Congalala will sometimes even hold ore, bones, or even dung. Yes, dung, like poo-poo. Not only will it carry this dung around, but the Congalala is even seen throwing dung at the player. If the player is hit by the Congalala's farts, bad breath, or even dung, the player will be inflicted with a status called soiled. Soiled causes the hunter to be surrounded by a cloud of vile-smelling brown gas. Being soiled disables the ability to use any consumable items, such as potions or steak. This is due to the foul odor causing the hunter to have a sore or itchy throat, making the hunter unable to use items that are needed to be consumed orally. This odor cannot be washed off easily, but with the specially made deodorant, the odor can be eliminated almost immediately. Let's take a look at some early concept art of the Congalala. As always, this concept art comes from the book Monster Hunter Illustrations. We can see this design looks more like a hippopotamus than it does an actual ape, even having these large tusk-like teeth. The arms still have that like ape gorilla look to them, and it would seem like this monster is still semi-bipedal just like the Congalala. One notable thing about this design are the protrusions or humps on its back and its head. It looks like in this design the signature headpiece of the Congalala would be made out of these bumps, similar to like a rhino horn. Unlike other horned animals, which have a bony core, rhinos only have mineral deposits of calcium and meladin at the core of their horns. Their entire horn is made out of tightly woven keratin. Keratin is the same protein found in fingernails and hair. Both female and male rhinos have horns, and they are permanent. If a rhino loses its horn, they will grow back, usually taking about 3 years. These horns are more akin to things like hooves or beaks. I think that's why this design has the horn-like protrusions near the head, near the scalp and the back, where hair follicles would grow. I think it's a really cool idea, and even kind of looks more rhino-like, well, at least in my opinion. In this next design, we can see that this is much closer to the final look of the Congalala, with a few very notable differences. First off, the most notable difference to me is that tail. The Congalala itself uses its tail like a second arm, picking up items, carrying things, and even throwing things at the player. But here, the tail of the monster resembles more like a flower, and even has what looks like flower buds growing on its back. It's weird to think about, but maybe in this design, the Congalala would smell like flowers, and even attract the hunter with its floral smell maybe, even producing some sort of poison? Who knows? But it's pretty fun to speculate and look at these early designs and see what could have been, Now let's take a look at this last piece of concept art. This is either from the final design or very close to the final design of the Congalala, but I still wanted to kind of take a look at this. I'll have my buddy Frost take over from here.
The Congalala has a very aggressive personality, and in turn has plenty of moves that should irritate hunters to be the same. It will become a monster that you want to hunt. Its appearance, particularly its face, reflects this aggression. When enraged, the Congalala's mane will stand up, and its nose will turn a bright red. Even its rear end will turn red like its nose while enraged. Otherwise, its rear will be the same color of its belly, its rather large belly. Congalala are not the most fit monsters out there, evident by the meat of its chest that is clearly losing the battle against gravity. This makes sense, however, since this monster is known to be a glutton. Finally, the Congalala has long claws that, while useful in combat, make it difficult for the monster to grasp things. So instead of using its claws to grasp objects, this monster uses its tail. Mushrooms, logs, even a bone or some ore can often be found wrapped up in the creature's appendage.
Like a lot of monsters in the Monster Hunter franchise, the Congalala has a few different species. In the MMO Monster Hunter Online, the Congalala has a lone species called the Golden Congalala. Lone species are rare monsters that live completely solitary lives. These monsters usually feature an alternate color palette and often boast different anatomical features and abilities from the common species. For example, when enraged, the Golden Congalala can surround itself with a stinky aura, making it really hard to heal during the fight with the Golden Congalala. From a lot of things we've seen earlier, the Congalala isn't really what you would call the most serious monster out there. Due to this, the Congalala has been used in a few really funny and notable ways. In Monster Hunter Online, there was an April Fool's event quest in which you had to hunt a Congalala. The fight was pretty normal, right up until the Congalala became enraged. At that point, the Congalala would take on the characteristics of a Rajang. Seeing a Congalala jump around and shoot gigantic laser beams is honestly super funny and something I really wish I could have experienced myself. This wouldn't be the only time the Congalala would be used for a cheeky April Fool's prank. In another April Fool's event, the player would spawn in the jungle map, with their sight obscured by what seemed to be fart clouds. The player would have to make their way to the source of these mysterious clouds. A Congalala face down in a pitfall trap, ass out in the air. The goal of the quest is to use a thunder weapon to do as much damage as possible to the trapped Congalala. After enough damage, the Congalala would be set free. Once free, the Congalala would perform one massive AoE fart attack, after which the quest would be completed. Oh, and did I mention that every time you hit the Congalala in the pitfall trap, he's making fart noises? This is absolute comedy gold. Okay, so this might be my favorite April Fool's event by far. This is called the Producer Congalala. Get this. It's a normal Congalala fight, right? But the face of the Congalala is replaced with the then producer of Monster Hunter Frontier. And instead of holding a mushroom, this version of the Congalala is holding a box copy of Monster Hunter Frontier. This is absolutely ridiculous and probably one of the best April Fool events I've seen in all of Monster Hunter. Quite honestly, Capcom doesn't have the balls to do something like this anymore. They would never do this in one of their mainline titles, and it's a shame because this is freaking hilarious. But moving on, last but surely not least, I want to talk about the subspecies Congalala called Emerald Congalala. The Emerald Congalala look very similar to normal Congalalas, except for their emerald green fur and their large beard. The Emerald Congalala was first introduced in Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. They have a larger spike than normal Congalalas and are able to produce more farts than the normal Congalala, making them highly dangerous. I wrote this, I really wrote this. Though very curious monsters, they're more aggressive than the normal Congalala. The Emerald Congalala is hardly sociable, rarely if ever seen with younger Congas or Congalalas. They prefer to be loners. When enraged, most of their attacks are accompanied by farting, making them kind of a tricky monster to fight safely without the deodorant we've talked about earlier. The Emerald Congalala will eat any meat that the player places in the zone, even stopping while being attacked when enraged, giving the player an opening if needed. When using pitfall traps, just like the normal Congalala, the Emerald Congalala will fall face first with its ass in the air. When in these traps, the Congalala may let out a small fart when attacked, but when enraged, the Emerald Congalala may release a mega fart that can reduce the effectiveness of the pitfall trap the Congalala is currently in. Like Monster Hunter in general, the Congalala's monster design doesn't really take itself too serious, but still has a ton of character, you know? Monsters like these are like the heart and soul of Monster Hunter, and one of the many reasons I fell in love with the franchise. With its simple design, its wacky fart mechanics, and all that personality, it's perfectly balanced between realistic monster design and fantasy creature. The Congalala is something straight out of a fever dream, and one of my favorite early game monsters to fight. I really believe that memorable monsters like the Congalala are what make Monster Hunter feel well, at least for me, like Monster Hunter. It's what makes it feel special, you know? It's a monster with a lot of personality, a lot of heart, and a whole lot of ass. And that's the video. Thanks so much for watching. If you got this far, please make sure to leave a like and then subscribe maybe if you want to. Click all the buttons, do that. Also, make sure to leave a comment. First of all, just let me know how I did. Let me know how I could improve and what you want to see in the future. Just a reminder, go check out Frost. His channel's really cool. I think he does it with him and his brother. I'll have a couple of recommended videos in the description and all his links below and everything like that. So that's it. That's all I have to say. Goodbye.